This is the continuation of some of the other videos I put on the YouTube channel here, which is telling you how to work out numbers and give you the formulas and the principles to do so. But in there, the costs were just bulked into one, because that's how we do it to get like quick fire, fast ways to work things out. So let me give you a little bit of the breakdown here right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just give you the breakdown of what they are. So the reason there's no figures against this is because each deal is each to its own, right? There are some basic things, but let me tell you what they are first, and then I'll tell you how you can fill in the blanks. So the first thing is broker. Yeah, because you want to have a broker is the person that goes out to the market and they are going to find you the money from the banks. They are going to present to you the products, like the lending products to you. So you'll be paying their fee. Next person, solicitor. Obviously you need a solicitor to be able to be doing all of the land registry and all the legal paperwork. It's very advisable that you get a good one. An extra thing on the solicitor, by the way, is it's going to be the cost of buying. Yeah, so the cost of buying. So that's one set of fees. Hold tight, because I'll give you something else, but I'm trying to give it you in the order that it happens. Yeah, we're going to also have a survey. So you want to have a survey on buying it. Sometimes the banks are going to request that anyway, but it's also good just to check out what state the property is in. Very important. So where applicable, you could have an architect's fees as well. So this is to get planning, but more importantly, come up with your design specification of what work is actually going to take place. So like it makes it very difficult for builders or contractors if you don't present them with this, because then how do we know like where the walls are supposed to go and exactly what the measurements are, plug sockets, the electrical, the plumbing work. So it's great to have that. So it is job specific, because imagine you're not really changing anything and you're just decorating, then you might not need that. But if you're looking to add massive value, then you are going to be doing some kind of renovation or construction project. If you do need to go through planning, there will be planning fees. So you're going to need to account for that as well. Again, it depends on the job, whether you're going to need that or not. But I'm just going to put a few things out there so you're aware of them. So at least ask the question when you're going through your process. Next thing is the finance holding cost. This is something that sometimes is missed off or people don't account for within their costs. What does this mean? Well, this means it's the cost of the finance while I'm holding the property. Finance holding. So what does this mean? This means that like I'm going to buy the property and then I'm going to start a renovation project. So I need to know like what is that cost that it's going to cost me. Now granted, there are some lenders that don't charge you monthly interest now if you're doing development loan type deal, but it's still good to account for that, but sometimes it would just be accounted for at the end as that cost, as the cost of lending, because that's another thing I'm going to get into. But sometimes you will be paying like a bridge cost on a monthly basis while the project is running. So another thing of the finance holding cost is obviously then you're going to have power and electricity for your builders to be using inside the place as well. So there's that aspect to take on as well. So while you're not receiving any income because you're not sold the property or you're not renting it out, you're going to need to have all these factors accounted for. When purchasing a property, you're going to have stamp duty, so do not forget that and build that into your cost as well. Also, you're going to have the cost of borrowing. So there's normally two, or you can be two, but there could be many. So I just want you to be aware of like what's the cost of borrowing. So if I'm going to borrow 75% of the purchase from the bank, how much is that costing me to borrow that much money? If I'm going to use the rest, which is through private investor finance or other ways of creating that finance, I need to know how much is that costing me to borrow that as well. For two reasons. One, it's got to factor into my costs. I've got to make sure the project works with that. But number two, I've got to make sure that my ROI, the return on the investment, is higher percentage than what it's costing me. So it cost me 5%, I'm just giving you round figures. If it cost me 5% to borrow the money, but I'm making 10% on it, that's the 5% gap right there, which is the profits upon which it's costing me 5 to borrow it, but I'm making 10, so I can afford to pay the 5 plus have the remaining left over. If that doesn't make sense, you've got to be watching some more of my videos so where I talk about numbers and deals and how it stacks and the ROI. There's the ones on the ROI as well, return on investment. So then there's the cost of the renovation or the construction. So you may want to hire in a project manager to take care of it, makes it more hands-off for you. If you want to be more hands-on, maybe you are dealing directly with a construction company, but there is going to be a cost associated to the renovation. Next thing is now we're going to, like, let's say I'm selling the property, right? I'm selling it. Now I need the solicitor's cost to sell the property. I'm going to have to factor in the agent's cost as well. to whatever they're charging to sell the property. If I'm not selling it and refinance it, there's going to be another round of a broker's fee because they're going to refinance it. So it'll be taking it from the current lending product, which could be a bridge loan, to then switch it onto a longer term mortgage. So we're going to go through that process as there's more cost associated there. So if I'm renting it out, especially if it's a HMO, which people do fully furnished, then you've got the cost of all the furnishings in there as well. Got to make sure that that's taken care of. And not everybody does this, but sometimes you might, if you're selling it, then you might want to do staging as well. So then there'll be the setting up of doing that. Plus there's the cost of the pictures that you're going to take to advertise it, whether it is for the renting or the selling of the property. So now each project is project specific, and we run off these formulas, what we call forever lasting formulas, meaning they're forever lasting. They will always ask us to look at certain areas because sometimes there's other costs that I may not have mentioned on here that will creep in to the deal where necessary and where circumstances kind of create that situation to happen. So if you want to have your hands on this, we like to guide people through it step by step, working with real life deals. So if you want to get your first deal, check out the link below. You'll see how you can meet up with our team, meet up with the people, come and do some training where I'll be there live, hands-on, working with you in a room where we all just brainstorm, we do it, and we get rich while we add a lot of value to a lot of people. So if that's you, then make sure you register, find out what it is we're doing, when it is that we're doing. There's plenty of things that we've got going on. And make sure you subscribe to this channel. Let me know in the comments any questions, other videos, other things that you might want us to contribute to you here. And until next time, do the right thing for the right reason, because it's the only way you're going to discover your true potential.